Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Just before this video begins, I want to announce a giveaway that I will be doing on the channel where the first 1000 subscribers will be entered into a giveaway to win a £10 gift card for Xbox, PS4 or Steam, depending on your preferred platform. So just simply subscribe to have a good chance at winning this prize. Once the channel hits the sub goal, the winner will be announced via your YouTube community post. Best of luck. Last video I spent some time talking about the exciting future of Five Nights at Freddy's, and that video has only been out for a week and we have even more news. And this is because a teaser for Help Wanted 2 has been released recently. So at this point, us the community are really being treated well at this point. I mean, we have several projects and a lot of content to be looking out for. But even though all this is very exciting, this video will be dedicated specifically to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I will start off by kind of briefly mentioning what I talked about the last video in terms of the early stages of the FNAF movie. As I am sure many of you are aware of, there was many imitations of the FNAF movie before Universal took over. Most notably, Warner Bros actually had a big project making the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, however it did get cancelled. Five Nights at Freddy's is a cancelled live-action horror movie based off the popular 2014 indie game of the same name. It was going to be distributed by Warner Bros and was going to be directed by Joe Kanan, who also directed Monster House and City of Ember. In terms of the actual plot for this movie, it would have been based around the backstory of FNAF, like the Bite of 87, the missing children incident and much more. But unfortunately this was cancelled, and here are some of the reasons why. First of all, Warner Bros could not get the animatronics to successfully work on set. Second of all, Warner Bros could not hold the film rights to FNAF. The final story of FNAF wasn't actually finished when this thing was in production, as FNAF 6, Pizza Simulator, has not even been released. It was most likely scrapped in favor of Ready Player One and Minecraft. The filmmakers kept auditioning directors, and Scott announced on Steam and social media that the movie was cancelled. The budget may have been too expensive for Warner Bros to afford. There were struggles regarding the plot of the movie. Scott Cawthon himself was not actually satisfied with Warner Bros' version, and he didn't like how they set up the story. So he went over to Blumhouse Productions and asked them to do instead. Another main reason why this was cancelled is most likely because the film has been pushed back and delayed way too many times. So I hope this gave you a little bit of an insight onto what the original FNAF movie could have been like before it eventually got cancelled. So this is great and all, but this is old news. We want to know what's really happening with the FNAF movie and how the one that's releasing in October came to be. You see, to fully understand how Scott Cawthon along with Blumhouse in addition to Universal got together to create this new movie, we have to take a little gander at what was the results of the cancellation of the original Warner Bros project. Warner Bros went for a turnaround. They released that this version was permanently to be cancelled. They also announced a Banana Splits TV horror film on Sci-Fi instead. Joe Kanan, the one tasked with directing the Warner Bros version, ended up leaving the project. That is until Blumhouse Productions, best known for Paranormal Activities, Split and Get Out, joined on the production of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie just a few months later. In 2018, it was announced that the film is back in production and Chris Columbus will be directing the movie along for writing and production with Blumhouse Productions and Scott Cawthon. Weirdly enough, in September 2021, Chris Columbus, best known for Harry Potter and Home Alone, left the FNAF movie, which means the movie did end up losing its director. This article is from the 1st of October 2021 with the title Harry Potter director Chris Columbus leaves Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This is the latest production issue to plague the horror film, which PC Gamer reports has already been delayed over screenplay problems. In a recent interview with Collider, Blumhouse CEO Jason Blum said, "Chris Columbus is no longer attached. He didn't reveal whether or not a new director has been found, and also didn't comment on why Columbus was no longer involved with the project." Blum did, however, go on to detail some of the difficulties faced in making the film so far. It seems that Blum himself doesn't have much of a say in the film's production, and that Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon actually has the final word on what goes into the film. "I don't want to do something that Scott does not like," said Blum. "Let me say that a different way. I don't have the right to do anything Scott doesn't like. Basically, Scott has kind of the equivalent of Final Cut, and it's taken longer than I hoped to get the right story. This article also had a section talking about Scott Cawthon's recently announced retirement. Funny how time flies, this article was made back in 2021. Scott Cawthon's retirement is an interesting and kind of sad matter, which is a whole topic in of its own. Sadly, not something I will be covering in today's video. After Chris Columbus had left the project, it was up to Scott Cawthon to go and look for a new director. And soon after Columbus's departure, it was announced that Emma Tammi was to be the new director. Emma Tammi is a filmmaker from New York. She was introduced to the cinema at a young age by her parents, both actors. After graduating from Wesleyan University, she completed an internship with Robert Altman, who remains a strong influence on her work. She is best known for these films. She made The Wind in 2018, which is a horror western. In 2014, she made Fair Chase, which is a sport adventure. She also made a 2-season anthology series in 2018 called Into the Dark. Now personally, I've never heard of her before, but I'm gonna give you guys a quick breakdown of her 2 most popular projects, excluding the FNAF movie. In 2018, she did end up making an anthology series which ended up spanning across 2 seasons. Into the Dark. What seems quite promising about this compared to our other project is that it's got 4.1 on Google reviews and 82% of people liked it. In terms of official critics, it got a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. This series was distributed and produced by Blumhouse Productions, which shows that them and Tammi have a bit of a history in between them. In addition to this, the majority of all her projects are based around the horror genre. Into the Dark is an anthology of stories that revolve around people experiencing paranormal activities and supernatural creatures during the holidays. I've looked into some teasers and trailers for this series and it looks quite alright, and also the reception was very good. Most likely her biggest project was released in the same year in 2018, The Wind. Unfortunately, it got a pretty awful 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb and only 66% of people who watched it liked it. To me, it's not even really the 5.6 out of 10 that seems bad for this film, it's more so that only 66% of people who watched it actually ended up liking it. I can't exactly judge this or call this bad as I haven't seen it yet, so for all I know it could absolutely bang. And it got a cool 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it can't really be that bad. Whilst Emma's discography isn't exactly the best, it will be improved drastically by the FNAF movie, depending on how good it is. But I do have hope, as Columbus, the person tasked with directing this before Emma took over, had no experience in the horror genre. Emma has been on this Five Nights at Freddy's movie project working alongside Jason Blum and Scott Cawthon, and hopefully with her experience and expertise in the horror market, she will make something good. Well, there you have it guys. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction context session of everything you need to know about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now that we will have a solid background understanding of what is going on, we can explore some further topics in another video. As always, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in a future video. Goodbye.